100th video. Oh my. Had I known, I would have said something while I was recording this in the hangar. But I didn't know. I know now. Anyways, I get some really long overdue but needed safety modifications done to the airplane. Thanks for watching. Welcome back to the hangar. It's again another weekend. It's also minus 34 in the wind chill outside today. I think it's without the wind chill, the temperature is, I think, minus 24 or minus 25. So yeah, it's cold. But I'm here to do some work on the airplane again. I'm starting this video with a different camera to experiment with it to see how it works and to see how long the battery life is on this other camera. Now I'll switch to a view on the other camera right there. This is the camera. It's got one of those gimbal heads, that kind of stuff. So back here. I'm just trying to see how this camera works. It's cool because if I tilt the camera, which I'm doing right now, back and forth, it stays level. My thinking is this particular camera I want over my shoulder looking forward as I'm flying, and it'll keep the horizon centered. So it also has the ability to have an external microphone. Now, I've had one particular person, a couple of people, but one particular person who says, get a lavalier mic. I'd love to, but none of my cameras accept an external microphone except this one. And this is the very first time I've ever used this camera. I've had it for a couple of years, actually. I've just never used it. And the reason I've never used it is because, well, it's a little more cumbersome than the square GoPro style. This is one of those other style of action cameras that has a moving head that articulates all over the place. So I've just never used it, but it has the ability to have an external microphone attached to it. So I'm going to see whether the external microphone adapter for this can be worked with other cameras. None of the other ones that I have, because I know they won't take an external camera. It just won't happen. But we'll see whether this one can, and for narration purposes like this, maybe I'll have that. But as for the rest of the stuff that I'm going to be doing today, it's going to be on the traditional old camera that I've been using, and which is a little GoPro style. The goal today, you know what, I'm actually noticing on the screen that the ratio is a lot less than like for, we'll have to see in editing whether that works out. I'm used to the other cameras, they're pretty wide. This one is much narrower. Anyways, couple things I'm going to be doing, and I'll be filming them, and then I'm going to kind of narrate them. So you might notice audio changes and the video changes, and that's because I'm going to be using those GoPro style cameras. And I'm also noticing that with the battery monitor that I can see right there, that this thing doesn't have a lot of battery in it. I just charged it up a couple of days ago. So I'd be lucky if this thing had, you know, maybe 15 minutes of recording or 30 minutes of recording or something. It's just not, it doesn't have a very good battery. However, it does have an external power. But if you have external power into it, you can't use the external microphone because it uses the same jack. Go figure. So, yeah. Anyways, I'm just testing out this different camera, and we'll see how this audio and video works out as an intro to this video. My goal today is going to be to install floorboards. Yes, floorboards. And I'll show you what I'm going to do with the other camera because, again, I'm not used to using this one. It's just, I think I'm just going to go to what I know works and just introduce this other camera as a test. I've got it set for 1080p, 30 frames per second. I think it'll do 4K. But I have tested this thing at home, and it's actually pretty efficient with recording as far as time's concerned. But as far as audio, we'll have to see what I use for inside the aircraft. If I use a camera to record the audio, or if I record the audio on a separate audio recorder only that ties into the intercom system, and use that, because again, I don't know. I've got a few months to figure this out, and when I come up with something that I'm satisfied with, we'll see how it turns out. So anyways, experimenting, and since we are experimenting, let's see. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. Oh, maybe not. Okay, the battery just died. Clearly there's something, the battery does not last very long in this thing. Cute little fancy camera. Good thing I started recording with this one as well. But I really think that if I'm going to use this to record inside the airplane, that I'm going to have to use this jack for power, not for audio. Because I like the fact that it keeps the horizon steady, and it'll be cool for, you know, over the shoulder look in the airplane. But as far as you know, battery life, for example, this camera that I'm recording right now, it'll go 90 minutes easy, or longer even, on a charge. And I've got spare batteries. Swap the battery out instantly. This one has a built-in battery that you can't change, and so yeah. Anyways, I'll be right back. I'm going to put this camera away, and then I'll carry on. Be right back.
2 very boring minutes later.
Okay, I'm back. Let me show you what I'm planning on doing. I've been here in the hangar for like maybe 10 minutes. I had to turn the heaters on high because they're set for low for when it's unoccupied, where it only keeps it about 10 Celsius inside here, which is fine for an unoccupied hangar, maybe a little lower than 10. Then you turn a little 1-hour timer and it boosts the temperature up to, well, it doesn't go up to, you know, 72, which is like 20 Celsius. It goes to like 15, 16 Celsius, which is more than enough for working in. You know, just wear a sweater or something. Anyways, I'm going to take you off the tripod. And there we go. And spin it around here. Now, see that sheet of aluminum? One thing I've noticed when I got this airplane, let's ring over here. These threaded rods, which are tied to the nose wheel steering, they were both bent down, and these pedals were really twisted, that kind of stuff. And the previous owner said, yeah, that happens, you just learn to live with it. Well, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. So, I'm putting floorboards in. And these floorboards are going to cover the bottom section there so that if your feet slip, you don't bend things. Because I don't think that's a good idea to let things bend. So aluminum plates, yeah, it's going to add 1/2 pound to the airplane. I know there's some people who are really anal about that. I'm not. This is a 2-seater aircraft that is going to be flying with one person 99.9% of the time, and some fishing and camping gear, which will weigh approximately half that of an average passenger. Okay? If I'm carrying more than 60 pounds worth of camping and fishing gear, there's something seriously wrong. Because my backpacking gear is what I'd be carrying for camping, and then fishing rod and some light tackle and whatnot. Even with an inflatable boat, I might reach 80 pounds. So, yeah, I could get an 80-pound passenger, somebody really small, like a kid or something. But the average male, adult female, or adult male will average 140 to 180 pounds, in that range, maybe 120 to 180 pounds, somewhere there. I'm not carrying anywhere near that, so lots of capacity. And if I am carrying a passenger, I'm not carrying camping gear. So no worries about that. Its mission is to take me on adventures, not going on joyrides with other people, because it's on floats, which means it's an adventure aircraft for me. Okay, now that I've gotten that out of the way, and we're not discussing counting ounces, let's take a look here. The floorboard is going to cover, let me reach back over here, basically from about here where the rudder pedals are, right back to this tube, okay? And just so that when I'm getting in, my foot doesn't slip, bang down, and see how easy that is to, it's not, almost bent it just with that. So this doesn't get bent, this doesn't get bent. Yeah. Now, I'm going to have to design it in such a way so that it's easily removable, which means the brackets that are there can be permanent, but the plates have to be removable, so I'm going to be using nut plates and screws, so that you can unscrew it and get access to down there if you need it in a rather short, time. A simple Phillips head screwdriver, and you have access again. And then I thought as well, I don't like the rear passenger. If I ever have a rear passenger, I don't like this business of being wide open here. If their heels drop down. Now on this side, it's not too much of a problem. This side would be, because that's where the landing gear linear actuator moves in and out of, okay? That could cause some serious problems. And so I'm going to put a little plate here, just something so that when someone puts their feet here, they don't accidentally push their heels down. And I'm also going to cover up underneath here these two tubes. It's going to have a plate as well, so that these control cables, which if jammed with camping gear or whatever, well, it would be a very bad day if they jammed, because now you've lost control. Now, I know a lot of people don't worry about it, and there's a lot of, none of the Challengers have this covered, and I get that. I get it that it hasn't been an issue that we know of. I'm not taking chances with that, especially if I'm going to be loading camping gear, even though everything's going to be in containers and bags, what have you. Sure enough, something's going to happen eventually, fly enough. And so I'm just going to eliminate that risk by putting a simple plate here to cover this up. Now, there will be an opening here for this control, which, basically is going to allow this to happen. And I'm also going to remove this control yoke. I'm going to be cutting this, putting in a plug so that I can remove this, put it back on, put a pin through, and control stick is back in place. Okay, so that's going to be, that from the day I bought it, I wanted to do that. And then what will happen is this opening here will have a cap placed on top of it. Again, so camping gear can even rest on here and it doesn't matter. Okay? Whether I'm going to translate that to back here as well, I don't know. I don't think I need to. I think I'm okay with just where that control is, because there's nothing really, there's bad camera, nothing really down here that if something fell in here, yeah, it'd be a real pain in the ass, but it's not going to impede the controls. So that's the goal for today. Do I accomplish it? We'll see. Oh, and I also, about the pitot tube on the nose cone, some people were asking, why did I fiberglass that back end with a couple layers of fiberglass? Well, I used chop strand, I'm walking with terrible camera work. Let's get this thing back up over here. So here's the nose cone. Oh, again, rotten camera work. I gotta fire that cameraman. And let's take a look. Now, here's the nose cone where it was riveted on, which, by the way, the rivets were pulling through because there weren't washers on the back sides of those blind rivets. So this nose cone with the end of the pitot tube would have fallen off. And this, on the inside, I noticed cracking starting. So, and it's also not in the center. So I figured, okay, I'm going to grind it down and put a couple layers. It's just the chalk strands sheets. It wasn't biaxial, it was just simple chalk strand. And all that's meant is just to keep it from cracking further. And reinforce it just a little bit on the nose. Then I was going to put a plug in the back there of body putty and drill a hole through that, and it was getting complicated. I figured, no, I don't need to do that. I'm just going to sand this down, paint it red, like Rudolph. Drill a hole right in the center for the pitot tube, and on the inside, what's going to happen is, let's go back here, there's going to be an aluminum bracket across there that the back side of the pitot tube will sit on, and it'll get fastened to. So just a simple bracket, a little L bracket there that'll be riveted in place, and the pitot tube gets fastened to that so it doesn't move in and out. And fastening it can be like a zip tie or a pipe clamp, you know, a hose clamp thing. Nothing fancy. Less weight, even though I did say I'm not concerned about weight, like a lot of people. That would have been silly. That would have been almost a pound of putty. I weighed it. This would have been almost 1 full pound of Bondo at the very front of the aircraft, which would, at that point, that's going to affect the CG. So I didn't want that. So that'll be how I finish off this nose cone thingy. So let's put this away so that I don't trip on it. Actually, it's right good right here over the bucket. Whether I get to that portion of the work today or not, I don't know. That can wait. I want to get these floorboard things in. That's something for over 2 years I've been thinking about, and trying to figure out how am I going to do it. And I'm just going to go ahead and do it now. And for the reasons I've explained. And if you've got a Challenger, I know a whole bunch of you guys who watch have a Challenger. Let me know if you've run into that, where when you get in, you're really conscious and self-conscious of hitting that threaded rod and bending it, or did you actually hit it and bend it and had to straighten it? Let me know in the comments. You know, would adding a half a pound of aluminum, because that's going to be what it's going to weigh less than that. Well, maybe it'll weigh that. I'll have to wait before I fasten on there. To give you that peace of mind that that would never happen, a little bit of safety, just for the pilot. Not the passenger side, maybe that's not a concern, but the pilot side, that's one of my concerns. Let me know in the comments if you've had that happen, know of it happening. I knew what happened on this airplane because the previous owner told me about it, and both those rods were kind of bent up when I got it. And he said, yeah, it's real pain every time he got in. Occasionally he would slip a little bit and boom, he'd bend that rod. He says now his front nose wheel steering didn't match the rudder. Why don't you put floorboards in? I kept on thinking, but so that's what made me prompt right from when I bought this thing that I'm going to do that. So here I'm going to do that. I'm going to film it for you guys, and you can criticize me or compliment me. Either way, doesn't matter. And again, like I said about the lavalier mic, this camera doesn't take it. The other camera that died quickly does take it, but it died quickly. It's the only one that I have that would. So I tested it here just to see how it would work. And of course, no battery life. So the ones that are commenting on that, yeah, I will eventually, when I change and upgrade these cameras. These are really cheap ones that I think I paid $45 for. I bought 2 of them for 45 bucks a piece a couple of years back, about 4 years ago, and they're staying. I'm still using them because I'm putting my money in this thing right now, not in that thing. So, and if you're seeing advertising, by the way, on YouTube, that's not me. I don't get a dime, nothing out of YouTube. They're throwing advertising on it, and they're making money off of it, whatever little money they are making on it. You know, so it's not me. It's YouTube. So, and I don't have a Patreon. Maybe when I get this thing in the air and flying on adventures and going on fishing trips and camping trips and whatnot in the backcountry, I'll have a Patreon account for a couple bucks, you know, to help pay for fuel and you know, food, whatever. So I'll think about it. A lot of people do that, and it just offsets the cost of it. I'm recording these things primarily when I started for my own records and my family and friends. Then a whole lot of other people started watching it, and now I record and do the editing because I enjoy it. It's actually fun to edit and throw in cartoony stuff and whatnot. I think, yeah, I'm having fun doing it. Okay, so the filming, the YouTube part or Rumble, or because I am uploading on Rumble, by the way. This is just for fun. Right? It's not for earning an income. I know people live on YouTube. I don't. I have a real job, you know. So there we go. Anyways, enough of that. This very long introduction. It's over 20 minutes. Ha! Let's get to the actual work, and that'll be all sped up and edited and that kind of stuff. And then I'll be back to discuss what I've done and how I've done it at the end of this video. So, pitter patter, let's get at her.
A few moments later. A little longer than a few minutes later. One hour later. Two hours later. 20 minutes later. One pair of pants later. A little longer than a few minutes later.
4 panels, so that my feet don't slide down and bend those tubes. Okay, well, I'm going to close this off here. It's late. It's 7 o'clock at night, and I got here at noon, so 7 hours to make those floor panels. Well, longer than I expected. A lot of cutting and trimming and everything else. Anyways, I'm going to cut this short. I gave you a long intro. This will be a short outro. Thanks a lot for following along. I'm probably going to have to add stiffening, some angle aluminum on the bottom to stiffen it because they kind of flex a bit. Maybe not. I'll think about it. But that's it for right now. Thanks to everybody for following along, and subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything. Click that subscribe button. It's right down there. It's right down there. And then hit that like button. I really do appreciate that. And leave a comment. Like I said earlier at the intro, let me know if you have experienced the same thing of your foot sliding down and bending those threaded rods, because that's why I put this thing inside here. And I'll include as well a close-up view of this, or yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory what I've done. I won't bother with that. You guys know what it's. If you do want a close-up of what I did and little details, let me know in the comments, and the next time I'm in the hangar doing some more work, I'll do close-up of that. Anyways, thank you again for following along. Keep your stick on the ice, and we'll see you again here in the hangar. Bye for now.
Thanks for following along, and definitely leave a comment if you've bent those threaded rods or anything else with your feet. Yeah, thanks for watching. See you again here in the hangar. Bye for now.